The Satrass, a 6th century Caledonian Bigfoot or Man Monkey. More hidden history of a UK wildman. I am often told that there are no historical links to a hairy man monkey in the British Isles, and I can understand why even my own countrymen have no knowledge of them. Along with many of our ancient rites and heritage, the stories that were once handed down mouth to mouth and written about in old texts are not taught to us in school, and it is only in proactive searching that any literature on the subject exists, and even then, it contains very little written word. I know for myself, finding the tales of earthly woodwolves gave me a hope that there was something out there that others had seen, painted, sketched, and written about. The Green Man, Brown Jack, are other names for him, and in some cases there's even the mention of a female wolf, and a few mentions of a number of handsome wolves who could charm young maidens into the straw or long grass once in a while. Now, one name that was new to me until a few years ago was the Satrass, or Caledonian Man Monkey, that is mentioned in an old ledger called the History of Ancient Caledonia, and that was printed in 1879 by John MacLaren. In pages 29 and 30, he shares a poem that centres on the grandson of MacIntyre, who rebelled against the Gaul, and here's an excerpt. Now, the grandson of MacIntyre, who rebelled in Gaul and broke off from Lazarus and Daniel, went to Birnam, being there oppressed with Satrass or Man Monkey of a prodigious size, and they were forced to leave that place and came to Saint Laurence of Dundee for protection. This race of man monkey lived chiefly on a diet of fish. They had no language, but seemed to understand each other and communicate by fearful screaming and roaring. They were very mischievous to cattle, and the inhabitants of the villages became afraid of them. There was nothing they were frightened of, except for fire, and when the inhabitants heard them nearby, they'd set fire to the heath to frighten the men monkey away. Through a course of time, however, this wore back to the forest. When they became familiar with the human species, it was dangerous for the women to go out unescorted or alone. Now, Daniel, being the ruler, seeing this, appointed certain days in the week for young men to go out with their bows and arrows and hunt them down, and they soon got the mastery over them. There was also the wild boar, which was a very disgusting thing to the people. The custom was, if that a man went on a pilgrimage and he happened to meet a satrass or a wild boar or any unclean beast, he had to return and commence his journey afresh. Now, in the area that was territory to the said satrass, there are a number of what we would be probably call historical and modern day reports, including the Craigie Barnes Grey Man. Now, the big grey man is often said to be Scotland's Bigfoot, and the stories from travellers and locals alike go back hundreds of years, and they stretch from the east to the west coast. In the 17th century, a man of the clan Murray was reported to have captured a wild man in Craigieburn Rocks, and he chained a wild man, and it still appears in his family heraldic shield to this day. And then in Weem, the wood figures. Now, Weem lies just to the northwest of Aberfelder. Perhaps due to its prehistoric beginnings, it is said that the wood has numerous legends and supernatural experiences associated with it. Now, some of the most prolific stories about the woods are about demons inhabiting the area. They are believed to lurk in the many caves and crags scattered throughout the woodland. Walkers and hikers have reported feeling a very powerful presence and a sense of unease that intensifies the deeper they travel into those woods. The shapes seem to tend to melt into the natural background of the trees. Other witnesses report an overwhelming feeling of not only being watched, but of being followed. And the woods also have a reputation as the home of the seed, of the fairy folk, the fae, and other nature spirits. Human apparitions have also been seen, but who these people are or what historical time they come from is unknown. Whether these sightings and sensations are the work of demons, satrass, or other forms of elementals, no one can say. Nevertheless, the ancient legends and stories of the woods, still causing a few hearts to skip a beat, even today. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me for future episodes. I release content like this every week, and I'm sure I'll cover a topic you enjoy, so don't miss out. Hit that follow or like button. Please check out my YouTube and Patreon memberships for early or exclusive content, and you can find the link to them and my social media and donation sites in one handy link tree below. BBR is not funded, so any donation, no matter how small, is highly appreciated. So I will bid you adieu, and I will be back at the same time, the same day, with more from the BBR Case Files.